This is the strategy that works. We've been doing this for the last 3.5 years, and it's going to get the most levels of engagement.
This ain't this cause I say it respectfully. It's time to eat up, right like a speeder. Taking it deeper and that's how it better be. I never let the comparison get to me. I just remember the promises meant for me. I know the enemy and that he's sent for me. I keep the blood of the lamb as my centerpiece. I cannot trust in no crystals or energy. Look at the chemistry, it do not even mix chemically. Most of the tricks they be gimmicks, they mimic the truth. It's poison and we got the remedy.
And what we're looking for is people that are hungry, wanting to hustle, wanting to break through walls, wanting to go after that legendary status.
Show me the chicken, I'm frying it. They say you ain't about it. Tell them that you finna make it, but they doubt it. But you rose like the flower. Tell me what it's like to live with superpowers. I don't know, but I'ma get it. I'ma get it. I'ma get it. I'ma get it. I just know that I'ma get it. I'ma get it. I'ma get it. I'ma get it. I'ma get it.
What's up, guys? I'm Kyle Mylan. It's Tuesday. Fab Tech is over. So we're back in the studio for the normally scheduled program. That's like what people say, right? For those of you new to the content, I've got a YouTube channel, lots of videos on it, like almost 2,000 videos. All I talk about is industrial marketing and industrial sales. That's what we're about here at MFG Tribe. We just got back from spending a week in Florida for Fab Tech, 3-day show, spent a lot of money. And if you guys, small, big, does not matter, are doing trade shows, what I'm going to do in the next couple of weeks, once all of the chips fall, we're going to do a live where I go through all of our cost that we spent, which is over $50,000, all of the different areas broken down to the booth costs, the trade show costs, the expenses of travel, the lodging, the food, all of those costs. I'm going to break it all down for you guys, full transparency, to show you what we spent on our first time exhibiting at an industrial trade show and how we're going to track the ROI on it, because I am obsessive right now over data and numbers when it comes to input versus output. I'm just like in this world, and I love it because the data don't lie. So if you guys are interested in that, stay tuned. Be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel, because once that video gets done, it'll be posted on YouTube once the live is done and it's finished. So be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel, turn on notifications, and if you want to participate in that conversation about cost of a trade show, how do you get ROI, how do you track it, how do you look at your leads, your deals, how do you budget for it next year, because I just almost finished which trade shows we're going to be exhibiting at next year and attending from a walking standpoint. All of the costs broken down so we can budget for 2025, because it's a significant amount of money to be spending for us at a trade show. So if you guys are interested in that, be sure to stay tuned for more live content. If you want to listen to everything in podcast format, every major podcast platform, type in industrial sales and marketing with me. Let's jump into today's topic. For those of you that are watching this live, leave a comment and be like, yo, I'm here. Want to see that you're supporting the efforts. We give away all of the secrets. Everything that we talk about on this show every single week and all the videos is things that we do every single day. This is not theory-based stuff. This is, we're doing these things for this group of clients and future clients, and this is what works and this is what doesn't. It's not just based on like, oh, I think that running ads in a trade show magazine would be beneficial. We've done it. We track the data. We know what works, what doesn't. We adjust strategy, etc. So everything is backed by this agency of almost 30 that are running this every single day for our clients, managing a significant amount of industrial spend. So today's topic, we're talking about 2025, the future of industrial marketing. And for those of you that follow my content, you're not going to be shocked by the things that I review today. But this is what these handful of things that I'm going to go through, this is what you need to focus on. This is what needs to be beaten into your brain and paid attention to for the next 12 months and probably for the next, I'd say, 3 years before we see any massive disruption in the market. Number one, what color, Laura? Brown, green, or black? Black. Let's go black. Number one, so this is going to be 2025. One of these days, Laura, I will get a board that is electronic. Right? We need to set some goals of when I can buy that. Number one is going to be tracking data. What do I mean by that? Some of you may know what I mean by that. Anybody that was at the MT Forecast event 2 weeks ago in Schaumburg, hosted by AMT, some of this may not come to a shock to you because if you were there and you went to either the marketing workshop or the marketing strategy session that I had, which had about 95 people in it, this is going to feel familiar to you. Tracking data. Data has to support every single decision. I started that talk by saying that I think it's interesting. I had a group of 95 marketing people, CEOs, top salespeople. I find it interesting that most industrial and manufacturing companies, they track everything obsessively when it comes to operations, efficiency, machinery, throughput, quality, on-time delivery, all of that stuff. It's like, dude, we got data to support everything. What's your PPM on your quality? What's your shipping on time percentage? What's the efficiency throughput of this machine? Like all of that information is tracked obsessively. But then if I said, can you tell me the last 20 deals that you have, where the source of that deal came from with 100% certainty? They're like, nope. Can you tell me where you spent money in what vertical, social, PPC, trade magazines, etc.? Can you tell me what that spend gave you from an ROI standpoint? Nope. They can never track it. And so this is where we have to come together and say, if you're using data, if you operated your manufacturing business and said, I'm not going to track operational efficiency or throughput at all, you would fail. No different than with marketing. And that's what's been happening for the last, 10, 20 years. Because traditionally marketing is just in industrial, is just like, hey, we're doing a trade show, need stuff to be behind us, need stuff in the booth, stuff like that. Website, need stuff like that. That's traditionally what it is. But if we can track every single source of every deal, and we can track the input and what we get from an output standpoint and the ROI on marketing verticals, and is the $50,000 or $500,000 that we spent on a trade show or $5 million, did it result in actual business? Was it worth it? Was it just from a brand awareness play, or can we tie back deals to it? And I don't mean deals like at the show, like at FabTech, Mitsubishi selling machines, or Armada selling machines, or people that are selling equipment at the show. Yep, went to the show, we spent $2.6 million and we sold 20 machines, which equals this much revenue. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about long term. People that have sales cycles that are 6, 9, 12, 24, 36 months down the road. Are you tracking that deal when it closes all the way back to when it first started? How did that person first know about it? What is the original source of that lead? And then from there, maybe they ghosted you for 12 months, there's no activity. And then how did you get them back into the pipeline? I want to know all that information, because with that information, that is how you develop a killer strategy, because you can say, based on historical information of what we've done, this is the results that we've seen. And so in 2025, we're going to implement these new strategies and tactics. So we're going to partner with a new agency like MFG Tribe to take us to that next level. And they're going to be doing these things. And the expectations that they have from a revenue standpoint per vertical is X, Y, and Z. They think that PPC has generated $20 million of business, but there's so much inefficiency there and usage of budget that they're thinking that we can, for the spend that we have, we can get 26 million, 32 million, or spend less to get the 20 million. There's so much information there. So you have to double down and be like, I'm going to track my data in 2025 down to no different than how I track my operations. If you don't have a CRM system that's tracking that, you need to get one. Start with HubSpot, use us. We get good discounts because we're a platinum partner. Use us, we'll get you a good discount, get you set up, get you trained, etc. And if you want to run it on your own, go ahead and run it, but let us just get you in the system and teach you how to use it. Step one is get the system that's going to track all the information. HubSpot is great. Salesforce can do it too, to a certain extent. HubSpot's the best platform out there to track everything together. Step one is get the system. Step two is use the system, integrate everything, tie everything together, and create the reporting and the structure and the metrics so that way you can, on a weekly basis, look at it and be like, weekly this, my salespeople are doing these things. Monthly, this is what we've seen. This many deals came in. This is where they came from. This is the trend we're seeing. Because if you wait 3, 6, 9, 12 months, then reporting is like the whole reporting discussion of data is like showing you history, right? Things happened, and here's a report showing you what happened in the past. But you have to be somewhat predictive with it. And the only way you're going to get predictive is if you look at history and start to create trend lines, goals, budgets, etc. So I think that in 2025, one of the most important things, more important than what you're going to do with your budget, and I don't care if you have a budget of 10,000 or 10 million a year to spend on marketing, if you're not tracking the data, it all is going to mean nothing. Because at the end of that year, you can be like, dude, the strategy that we did, because Kyle said for us to focus on these areas, the strategy crushed it. We crushed it. But it's like, cool, you crushed it and you spent 200,000, 300,000, a million, 10,000, whatever it is, you crushed it with that. But could you have crushed it more or been more efficient? Well, you wouldn't know unless you track the data. Or what are you going to do in 2026? Let's just do the same thing as 2025. This is typically how industrial companies look at it. We've been doing this for so long. We've been going to that trade show for 20 years. We need to keep going. But Steve, it hasn't produced an ROI. Well, you don't know that. We got to do it. There's good conversations. But I can prove whether or not it did produce an ROI. And the only way to do that is to track the data. So that's number one. You have to just get on board with it and be like, dude, I'm going to track data in 2025. And guess what's better than tracking data in 2025? Starting today. Do it today. Q4 started 16 days ago. 22 days ago. I don't know why I said 16. 22 days ago, Q4 started. Start doing it today. Number two that you're going to see, and I've been talking about this forever, and I feel like most of you agree, is a bigger focus on content. That thing is shaky. Look at this thing. This thing is barely hanging on. That's hilarious. I got to fix that. One of my many things. All right. Content. I've been saying this for multiple years. People are finally starting to get on it, but it's the execution of the content. So break it down into three areas. You have polished, which let's just write this down on the board. Go to camera 2, Laura. Camera 2, Laura behind the wheel. You have three different types of content. You have polished. You have semi-polished. Who is entering the studio? Who was it? Oh, Colin was leaving. Polished, semi-polished, and raw. 1, 2, 3. These are your three types of content. You need to have all three. If you don't know what all three look like, look at my content, look at our company's content, look at our clients' content that we share every once in a while. Polished content is taking this content, running it through our video team that's ridiculously good, and creating a long-form video. A 20-minute video from a 35-minute live turns into a 20-minute polished, edited, text on screen, B-roll footage, etc. Graphics, animations, whatever it is. That's a polished video. Semi-polished, what's semi-polished, Laura? Semi-polished is spending less time on it and just like making some light things, right? Then you've got raw, which is just my phone in my pocket. I'm just shooting content. You're shooting it with your phone, which is fully capable of creating a great piece of content. Shooting it with your phone and posting it like that. Why does that work? Well, I know for a fact, based on data, going to point number one, that if you just post the same type of content, you will eventually bore your audience. If I just post, I did no lives, I just posted polished content, you'd be bored of it. Engagement would decrease, impressions would decrease, the algorithms of everywhere that I post it would start to go down. If I just did lives, eventually, after a certain amount, I would reach the bell curve where I'm not getting enough ROI on my time investment. So you have to have different kinds. The semi-polished can be like, the video team spends like 20% of their time on it. They're just adjusting color, adjusting lighting, adjusting framing, something like that. Light text on screen. The raw stuff works too. Some of my best videos that we've tracked, performed, YouTube, social, and through email, are like video shot in my car, completely different scene. Trade show stuff, walking, dynamic, me interviewing somebody. Like, you have to have different types of content. It can't just be the same thing every single day. If I just sat at this table every single time you saw a video of me, eventually you'd be like, the new people would be like, this is cool. He's talking about a lot of cool stuff. But the people that continue to watch the content, that are consuming it, would lessen their engagement because they're just like, yep, it's the same thing. Kyle's at the table with the wooden top. That's just how it is. So you have to create content. More industrial companies are creating content, starting to dip their toe in it. feeling uncomfortable about it. If you partner with an agency like ours, we take care of all that for you. Does not matter the type of content. Trade show content at the booth, at the show, lives with LinkedIn and YouTube, fully polished video shoots, client testimonials, product launches, demos, webinars, short form content, long, like everything. We do it all, right? We do it all internally with our team here and travel to you. And the reason why we create so much different type of content, the reason why when we're doing strategies for our clients, we're like, hey, we've been doing this now for 12 months. Next year, we need to add in this aspect of video, live content, client testimonials, trade show stuff, is because the audience, you still need a combination of the polished and semi-polished, but you need some raw stuff. You need some change of scenery. So content is going to be making you differentiate yourself from everybody else that's starting to do the content. Number 3, to stand out, to pay attention. I use this phrase a lot, full circle marketing. And I'll tell you what it means. If this is a circle, you can use it like a wheel. So we've got different areas. Maybe this is your website. And this is SEO or search. And you're doing a little bit of PPC. And you're creating written content. And you're doing videos and lives and demos and tours. Like you're doing all these things. So you're paying attention to your website and not thinking like, oh, we did it 5 years ago, we don't need to do anything else. You're actively looking at your SEO, your organic traffic. Because you know what? If you're tracking the data, where's the camera? If you're tracking the data, always here to entertain you, Laura. If you're tracking the data, then you're able to see where did the deal come from. Did the deal come from straight up just from the website? Somebody went directly to the website. They had to have heard of you somehow. Did they do an organic search and it goes under SEO? Did you run a PPC campaign? And did you do geofencing? Oh my gosh, that was horrible. I'm going to call that a G. Geofencing. And I don't mean the normal one. I don't mean the Google one. I mean the one that we do. Did it come from that? Are you writing content? Are you creating videos and other type of content? And are you doing email? So you have to be doing these to complete the circle. So when I say full circle marketing, what I mean is that you're touching in every area because everything needs attention. You don't know exactly what is going to get that person at that company to pay attention to you. They're going to fall somewhere on the wheel. It's going to be one of those pieces of content. You notice I didn't put social up there. Social is a given that is what's going to push all of your content out there. But you could add that as a spoke of social. So it does not matter who you're going after. It does not matter the industry. Does not matter the job function, the title, the seniority level, the company size. None of that matters. Everything is even that person that you're trying to get attention from, whether it's a decision maker or an influencer, one of these things is a way to get their attention. And sometimes it's like you got to meet them face to face or through a referral or somebody you know, sometimes. But generally speaking, if you're going after an industry, going after a company, one of these things is going to get the attention. So you have to be doing a little bit of both. What's hilarious is when I talk to companies, we start talking about creating content. They're like, yeah, we create a lot of content. And I'm like, I'm willing to bet based on the fact of what you guys do with that content, that you have very minimal views on that content. And like, we do very minimal views. That's why we're here talking to you. And I'm like, that's got to be the worst for the person that created that piece of content. It's like you've got the best product, you've got the best piece of content, but nobody knows about it. Nobody sees it because the marketing behind it sucks. And so you can have the best article, the best case study. Oh my God, this case study shows exactly why we're better than that other company over there, because we worked with this company and provided a solution to them and boosted everything, operational throughput, efficiency, saved them money, all these things, right? But if nobody sees that case study, what does it matter? So you invested time to create a piece of content, but nobody sees it. And what are you actually doing with that? And so if you're not, going back to number one, tracking the data, you can't possibly say whether or not it worked. So you need to be doing that every area, at least a little bit. You do not have to be creating, do not have to yourselves create 3, 4, 5 articles per month. If you just said, hey, look, we got to put out some written content next year. We're going to do one piece per quarter. Cool. Videos, we're going to hire an agency like MFG Tribe, because even though we can write all your content for you, maybe you want to do that internally because you have the engineers and you have the staff. But videos, you don't have the staff. So you're going to use us. And we're going to create a full spectrum of how many videos we're going to shoot, what are they going to be on, and the whole strategy. Then you're like, on the social side, well, we got to post something from social. Well, we'll take over that for you, and we can post regularly 2, 3, 4, 5 times a week, because we want to make sure that when the potential customer comes in, when somebody looks up your brand, that they're like, oh, look at all this content they're creating. So it all comes together. Email marketing still is relevant. Are you going to get 38% open rate? Typically not. You could on sequences through HubSpot. We have the proof to show that. But even if you're getting 12 to 20% open rate, strategic open rate, and click-through rate and engagement, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8% engagement rate, that's good, because you're going after the people that is how you can get their attention. Some people you can't get them on email, you got to call them. Most people you call them, you get voicemails. But you have to do this full circle. You have to look at everything. I feel like, I know we have a guide, but I feel like we can update a guide to show the spokes of the wheel where you need to pay attention. And maybe even a percentage, like a sliver, like a pie chart, Laura. I'm thinking a pie chart, and then certain pieces of pie, what vertical you should be focusing on. We will create that for you guys as an infographic. But you got to be looking at that, everything, not just like, hey, you know what, next year, 2025, I'm going to do 3 videos. That will get you nowhere but pissing you off, because you're going to do those, but you don't have distribution of the content or the platforms, and you're not going to get a lot of attention or engagement. And then you're going to say, this didn't work, Kyle sucks, and move on to follow somebody different. So number 3. Number 4, last but certainly not least, IBM. Does anybody know what that means? IBM, not the computer company, for those of you old enough to know when they first came out like me. IBM. If you're watching this on replay, pause it and think about it, and then see if the answer. And the answer is, Laura, do you know what it is? Laura probably doesn't even know what this is. IBM is industry-based marketing. So instead of account-based marketing, where you're saying, I'm going after this account, do the same theory, the same principles, but do it based on an industry. We've been doing this for a while for our customers, and this stuff works. You say, I want to go after aerospace, and you have articles about what you do for aerospace, a landing page for aerospace, paid ads that are going after aerospace, a list of prospects that are in aerospace, emails written about your experience in aerospace, all of those things, but you're doing it off of an industry instead of just strictly an account. So it's taking the best things from account-based marketing, which is hyper-focused, targeted content, specific to an area, and just saying, well, instead of that area being like John Deere, because I really want John Deere, I'm going to go after agriculture. And I'm going to go after all these companies, because they all have different life cycle stages. I talked to John Deere. It takes me, let's say, 17 months to get approved as a supplier. I talked to Case New Holland, maybe it takes me 6 months. Well, why not start that timeline at the same time, today, or tomorrow, or next month? Not like, oh, first we're going to do one, and we're going to get all that going, and then we're going to do another one. Now, if you can create industry-based marketing and swap it out with some dynamic account-based content, great, do that. But like, the account-based marketing is not super common in industrial. Some of the bigger companies that we deal with, they're like, look, we don't need 40 customers, we need 2. And it's these 2 companies. Okay, we're going to create all the content focused around those 2 companies. That's great. That works fine. But for those of you that aren't just looking for 2 or 6 new customers and you're looking for more, go off of an industry. So IBM, industry-based marketing. I don't know if that exists. I'm going to have to Google search it. If it doesn't exist, I'm going to trademark it, because I came up with that like 6 months ago. It's account-based marketing, but focused on the industry. We're doing it. We've been doing it. It works. We've got the data to support it. Some industries are better than others. Automotive versus med device versus biotech versus aerospace versus DoD, which is very difficult. in a lot of areas. But like all those things work. But you got to look at it from an account or an industry-based marketing standpoint and say, what industries do I want to focus on in 2025, and what type of content do I need to create, and pages and SEO and social posts and graphics and infographics and videos and articles and all case studies and all these things and email marketing copy. What are the things I need to create? And maybe you say, hey, next year I really want to go hard after these two industries. Perfect, 100%. You're locked in. That's a phrase that I'm hearing so much these days at work and at home. And now I'm going to start using it. You're locked in on these two industries. This is where you want to focus your attention on, because you know those industries and what they spend on your service or your product. And you know that you're just looking for like a 12% growth in total available market, or you're looking to grab like 2% of the market share from those industries, because that'll give you enough revenue growth to appease your revenue projections and goals that you have. And that's great. Industry-based marketing kind of like pulls everything together. You got to start with some sort of full circle system where you're tracking the data, creating more content focused on an industry. That is the funnel. We're going to be right back after this short break, which maybe we'll have a dope video.
If you talk for like 20 more seconds, we will.
I'm going to talk for 20 more seconds because Laura's uploading a dope video. It's probably something that we created from FabTech maybe. If anybody's watching this, you don't need to pick that up because I'm done writing. If anybody's watching this that was at FabTech, give me a comment in the comment section below. Let me know if maybe you met us. Did that make it all the way over there?
Yeah.
Dang, that's like 6 feet. FabTech was awesome. We will be doing it again in Chicago. We will be going bigger. We're trying to basically, besides the big boys, Mitsubishi, Trump, Amada, all those people, besides those guys that like spend an insane amount of money at the show, we're trying to get enough attention around it to where like it worked for this show. People are like, dude, I heard about your booth and came by to the booth, or salespeople walking around, team walking around. I've seen your stuff in the last 2 days, yesterday. I've heard your name so many times. That's what we're trying to go after. We accomplished it to a certain level. Next year though, in Chicago, it's going to be ridiculous. We'll be right back after the short break to answer questions and go through comments. Go. All right, we're back. Hopefully you liked that video. Laura coincidentally put that together. We had 3 videos. Is it a coincidence that she picked the one that she put together? It is not. She's like, yo, check out what I made, which I appreciate. That team, so look at that. So we go to the trade show all day. Video teams running around shooting so much content, not just like, oh, content for MFG Tribe. No, people that asked us to shoot content, videos we're creating at their booth, videos we're creating at our booth, plus capturing the show, plus content for us, and then still go back to the house at night, spend an hour-ish grabbing that footage and editing a video into under 60 seconds is insane. We appreciate them so much for doing that. Let's go into the comments. So if you liked it, tell Laura, I like that video.
I did play mine, but not just because it was mine, because out of the 3, it was the only one that didn't say see you tomorrow at the end.
Oh, good one.
Let's see. We have a comment from Larry. New here, interested in hearing about your trade show experience and how you track ROI. Can sometimes be challenging to get the full picture of trade show value.
Yeah, so Larry, we'll go into that probably in like 2 weeks, but just high level, how we go into it is, and we do things a little bit differently, but we did a lot of pre-show marketing. So what we did, we looked at it and said, You've got the exhibitor group, people that we want to sell to that are exhibitors, and you got the attendees that we don't know who they're going to be. So we have to set things up ahead of time to go after the exhibitors with pre-show marketing. And if you're depending on the show, you might be able to get the list from last year or market to those people that were attendees. We grabbed the exhibitor list. I went through every single one for this show, 1,800 roughly companies, went through each one, went through their website, picked out the ones that I thought were a good fit for us, marketed to those people, job function that we went after. They're already in our system. As people came to the booth and got scanned, even the scanning system, which we're going to be coming out with hopefully in the next 2 months, a new system that we've partnered with a software developer on, a new system that is going to be way better than the ghetto Express Leads. Sorry, Express Leads, if you watch this, your system is so ghetto. It is horrible. It is the worst system. We've used it with clients that did like IMTS and FabTech and stuff like that. We've had to take their scans and put them into the system to do marketing afterwards and set up sequences and workflows and whatnot. Being a firsthand user of it, it is absolute trash. So me and the automation team were like, we can make something better. We found a partner to do it with, and we're going to be rolling out something that's way better that is not tied to a trade show, and you can use it even as attendees. But anyways, you take that data has to go into the system, and it comes down to the custom fields and metrics that you're tracking in your system to be able to track that person all the way through the life cycle stages of, hey, is this a marketing qualified lead, sales qualified lead, tying it back to a show, an event, something like that with a custom field. So I can run a report at any point in time and say, hey, show me everyone that came from this trade show that we walked, how many of them turned into deals, what was the dollar amount for those deals to then track ROI. It's harder to track ROI on trade shows from a soft cost standpoint. Like if you want to get crazy detailed, which I'm not going to go down that path, but like everyone's time. So I took 12 people to the trade show. And if I said, hey, what is their time worth for those 5 days during the week, I can add that in as like, that's a soft cost expense. I'm looking at high level hard costs because it's just less fluff in it, because like, did this one person, was their time valuable? Like that's a different conversation with operations. Was this person going to the show based on what they did at the show valuable for their amount of output that they do and the responsibilities that they have? But tracking hard costs, what was the total cost of it? But then tracking the opportunities and the deals, not just from the first time. What usually ends up happening is you get 120 leads, 220 leads, whatever it is, scans at the booth. And then it's like, once sales has a conversation, it goes down the funnel and you get like 26. And then people usually just focus on those 26 people. And it's like, that's the deals we got from it. But everybody else could potentially still be a deal. And if you didn't stamp them in the beginning when they came into the system, you'll never know if they end up turning into a customer that can contribute to the ROI. So we'll go through that in a couple of weeks. I'll have a whole process.
Let's see, we have a couple comments from Reading Dave.
I'm
trying to dream up types of content to keep our customers' privacy because our products are designed by our customers. Categories I have come up with are applications, example of properties, comparing results of processes, machines, boxes, ready to ship, expertise in the field, people that make it happen, and the business of production. Do you have any other suggestions along these lines?
So Reading Dave turned into Research Dave first, and then Writing Dave, because I think that you've pretty much covered every single topic that I could think of off the top of my head. I think all of those are great, and I completely understand your situation where you can't disclose too much information because they help you develop the products. But what I would do is look at it and say, we have all of these different areas, and I'm going to create content for each. What's going to be the easiest ones to create that maybe don't require a lot of back-end information or approval to get it out there, and start there. Start with the easy stuff. Because if this is all new to you, if Reading Dave is turning into Writing Dave, and you're going to start creating this content, then what can happen is you can lose your steam if you start to run into roadblocks where you're like, I'm going to tackle this one because it's going to be so much value, but I'm going to hit all of these issues along the way, to where 6 months later, I'm like, cool, I got one piece of content. Because you're going to say, that sucked, I don't want to do it again. So get some quick wins, just do some easy ones, and then track how many people engage with that, view it, page on your site, whatever it is, but you need to track that. But I think you've got it covered, Research Dave.
Let's see. Tim wants to know top moment of FabTech.
Top moments. Tim also had a comment before that about requiring.
We'll get there.
Okay. Top moment of Fab Tech. The top moment of Fab Tech was, I'd say 2 top moments. One, the expression on people's faces, bodies when they walked into the house for the first time. Would you agree with that, Laura? And number 2, that dinosaur costume. Like, oh my God. So we thought, hey, let's just parade somebody around in a dinosaur costume would be a hit. It was way more than a hit, to where we should have put so much more into it to really make it like a smashing hit. But the ridiculousness of it, of people wanting to take pictures with somebody in a blow up $30 dinosaur costume or whatever it was, and the fun content. And I feel like it's the personality behind it. Nancy and Christian, Nancy in the West Hall, Christian in the South Hall, doing that costume with their personality when they transcend into somebody hilarious. Laura's like, what are you talking about? They were hilarious about it because they became the dinosaur and added their spin to it. That was ridiculously good. I'd say my third, how about a third moment was, we don't have any koozies in here, do we? Okay. So we created a koozie. It says, I make cool S word. Those things everybody wanted. So the team went to the beer garden one of the days. They had a stack of maybe 30 koozies. Mason Palmer went there. People were like, dude, let me get one. There was people lining up to get koozies from us, to where Palmer left the beer garden, literally sprinted back to the booth in the South Hall to grab another stack for me. So we probably gave out like 50 or 60 koozies, and people were jonesing over it big time. So those are my top 3 moments. There isn't just one. There's a million others, like the team bonding, the food, Laura's dinner, insane. Best pasta meal I've ever had in my life. Alex's burgers, ridiculous. It was insane how good his burgers were. Nancy's chicken, what was she make? Chicken fajitas, so good. Like a whole like insane spread of food. The food was definitely one of the top highlights. But then also just hanging out with the team, having fun, and just making some alcoholic beverage bottles go from completely full to empty was also fun at times.
Tim says, any gut punches at Fab Tech?
Any gut punches? I don't think so. There was, I mean, no gut punches, no even like in the face punch. For some other companies, there were definitely some gut punches. Like people talking to us, giving other companies gut punches, and why they want to talk to us was entertaining. But no, I'd say that everything went as expected. It was a shit show at times, and it was very good at times. More times good than a shit show, I'd say. Overall, complete W. How about, maybe we should say the highlight was us leaving the show and somebody in the vehicle in the front seat saying, hey, we should take a cone. How about that? And then we took said cone and brought that cone, because it was a street cone, back to the house. That was probably, what would you call it? Not the funniest, but the most ridiculous moment.
I would say putting all those people together for 5 days just made for a lot of shenanigans. That's how I would summarize that.
Yep, there were shenanigans.
Let's see. Tim also wants to know, any tips on marketing to potential employees? It seems to be as important as marketing to customers.
Yeah, so marketing to employees, funny you say that, but I did a whole speech on it at the PMA's Lone Star golf outing in April. And I want to take that presentation I did and give it as a live or do it in a video. But yes, you have to make yourself, your core values, your company, your vibe, your culture, what you stand for, mission, vision, all of that stuff stand out amongst everybody else, to make sure you're attracting the right people, and make sure that you're getting the right attention, and that your company is being, shed in the right light. So if you guys in your situation where there's it's an employer's market in some areas, in some fields, like I feel like right now, people that we're trying to add to our team, specific positions, it's an employer's market. We post something out there and we get 20, 40, 60 responses within like a week. On the flip side of it, and qualified responses, not just like people like, oh, I could do that. On the flip side of it, manufacturers are like, I want a welder, a machinist, this and that. I feel like it's still more of an employee market because there's a lot of companies looking for it, not enough people there to fill it. So you gotta like, why should somebody come work for you over anybody else? What makes you different? And you have to push that out there as hard as possible and show that culture and that vibe. The best way to do it is with videos, but you can also do it with words and images. So 100% important because you can't go anywhere without the team, and without a team you can't grow or fulfill the orders that you have or service the customers that you have. So the team is the most important. Any other questions or comments, Laura?
No
Tim had a funny one.
Just some comments, yeah.
About
Take
the whiteboard.
koozies at the beer garden. That's legendary good, he says.
Who's that?
Tim says that.
Oh, Tim, that's guerrilla marketing. We did that at FabTech last year, not at the beer garden, but at the lunch place, the bars of the lunch place, even with sodas, and put a stack of koozies, and I threw the bar lady some cash, and I think it was like $20 to give them out with every drink. Like that is how you get attention. How about that comment from Tim on? How about that comment from Tim on about Anne, about my whiteboard, which she's about to walk in here and grab my keys.
Oh yes, you're
Hang
going
on.
to have to submit.
I'm live here, Anne. Take the keys. Oh, okay. Then wait 1 second. Tim, hey Anne. Tim just made a comment. What did he say?
You can. Maybe we can put her in it.
Yeah.
Okay. Kyle's gonna have to submit a proposal to Anne for the smart board.
Yes, I will.
Yeah.
I talked about the smart board and how I want one, and Tim's saying I'm gonna have to submit a proposal to you.
Yeah, a really good proposal.
Yeah. So we have to set some milestones. Maybe once we get to like X amount of views, or we hit like 1.4 million views on YouTube, we're at 1 million now. Then we're gonna be like, hey, we're gonna invest the $4,000 for that smart board, so I don't have to keep going through dry erase markers. Imagine the ROI is I'm using the dry erase markers as the ROI as the investment. That would be like 1,000 years to pay off $4,000 worth of dry erase. All right. Any other comments? I'm almost done. So if you want to wait, do not use my Zoom. Do not
Someone's in line.
get another license. We have one open. Okay, great. Sorry, let's just banter. That's it. Lara's got her hands up. That means that it's time to go. It is 12:47. That went way longer than I expected. Guys, if you got value out of this content, share it with somebody that you know. Be sure to stay tuned to Thursday's live talking about sales, bringing in Alex, and I'll see you on the next one. And we're out.